So in real life I'm currently a student and I'm doing an archaeology course. When studying archaeology, you end up looking at lots of things that nobody has any idea about. Artifacts where nobody knows why they exist or who made them or how they were used. You can come up with all kinds of wild theories about these things. But in the real world you need evidence to back theories up, and theories need to fit into what we already know. But I find it fun to come up with theories even if they don't fit at all with the established history. And then I think about the effects those theories would have if they were true, and what kinds of societies they'd be true for. A single artifact can suggest a lot. Recently I've been looking at Bronze Age Cycladic figurines. They're small marble figurines, usually of women and nearly always found in graves. They were made about 5,000 years ago in what's now Greece. What really grabbed my imagination is that originally these were painted. Sometimes they were painted with a face and some indications of clothing. And sometimes they were painted with red parallel marks, as if they'd ripped at their cheeks and their chest in a Greek mourning ritual. And then there are some with like 10 eyes. Eyes on their bellies, eyes on their knees, eyes everywhere. There are tons of theories about them too. Were they toys? Mythological figures? Devices for teaching anatomy? But I'm gonna snatch the idea of figurines found in graves with tons of eyes, and make them into something completely different. There's something else I found out about recently. There are some ancient sculptures from the Monte Alto culture in modern Guatemala that have magnetic anomalies because they were carved out of rock that had been magnetized by lightning. The magnetic anomalies tend to be around the forehead, which suggests that the sculptors knew about magnetism and that it had some kind of significance. Apparently, many Mesoamerican cultures would wear tiny iron mirrors in their clothing, and if they were attracted to these magnetized sculptures, it would signify the importance of whoever the sculpture represented. At first I was thinking I would take these little Cycladic figurines and give them tiny magnetic anomalies, with eyes all over the body representing where these figures were most magnetic. The magnetic attraction would be perceived as it turning to look at something. But then I did a bit more research, and it looks like magnetic anomalies aren't usually that tiny. So let's make them fully magnetized. These little dolls work as compass needles. They have a little hole in the centre for a string to be tied through, so that you can hold them up by the string and they'll spin to face north. They're carved so that the head faces north and the eyes on the face are always looking north. But they often have eyes on other parts of their body too, and long red marks. That's because they're used as maps. The red line actually represents the closest river, and the eyes on the other parts of the body indicate places that a person might want to navigate to, but aren't visited regularly enough that they would just remember the direction. When someone dies, the doll they used is buried with them to help them find their way through the afterlife. They're known as wayfinder dolls. And when people wander through areas struck by lightning, their wayfinder dolls stop facing north, and they turn towards the rock. These people believe that powerful spirits get trapped in the rocks, and the wayfinder dolls are family to those spirits and recognise them. So they cut the spirits out of the rock and make a more suitable form for them, and venerate them. And the wayfinder dolls face north most of the time because all spirits come from the north. The society that made the wayfinder dolls doesn't live forever. Eventually it disappears. And 1,000 years later, the city of Alush emerges nearby. The people of Alush find hundreds of life-size stone people and are very confused and curious about them. And curiosity is what drives archaeology, even if they don't know it's archaeology. They come up with lots of theories, but one dominates in particular. These large stone figures are the dead bodies of the people who used to live here, called the stone people, because when they died their bodies turned to stone. They also find a few lost wayfinder dolls. They think that these were sacrificed babies, because they have red lines in very similar places to each other, which probably means they were sacrificed in a systematic way. And they have so many eyes! The people of Alush think that sometimes the stone people gave birth to babies with extra eyes. These babies were obviously considered very sacred and therefore sacrificed. Since the Alush are very pious, they decide that they should make their own dolls with many eyes and leave them as offerings to gods. The real wayfinder dolls are highly prized and are passed around as valuable gifts. Sometimes fakes are made, and sometimes the real wayfinder dolls have even more eyes painted on to make them more valuable. Even the archaeological theories of the Alush still leave archaeological evidence. If an archaeologist from another plane of existence came and excavated here, they would find a lot of stone figures. they would probably be just as confused and curious, and come up with just as many wild theories as the Elush looking at the Wayfinder dolls, or modern archaeologists looking at the Cycladic figurines.